Thanks for staying with Facing the Nation. Well, now it's time to talk about what everyone is getting excited about. And of course, that is, I did promise you that every week on this program until the 25th of May, the 26th of May, I promised you every week that we will have an update on how preparations are coming, whether it be from government or other agencies involved. This week we are talking to two persons. The first one is from the Guyana Tourism Authority, GTA. Of course, she is Miss Kemie Williams, and Kemie is here to tell you about the bed and breakfast program, and she's one of the persons who's working on that committee to ensure, because of course she will correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is the first time we're doing the bed and breakfast in a major way. So she's here to tell you all about that. Again, she's from the Guyana Tourism Authority. Now, in everything that we do, standards are important. We have to ensure that the standards are there so that people will not only get their money's worth, but people will be comfortable. So along with Kemie is Andrea Mendonza, and Andrea is from the Guyana Bureau of Standards. And she's talking basically about the importance and so on when it comes to standards for the bed and breakfast. Welcome to you, ladies.
Thanks, Andrea. It's a pleasure to be here.
And you're calling me Andrea.
I'm sorry, Malika.
And welcome to you, Andrea.
Thank you.
All right. It's great to have both of you. Let's talk about this bed and breakfast program now. People are excited. People want to know, first off, what stage is the bed and breakfast preparation at this point?
Well, first of all, I need to correct you indeed. Bed and breakfast, it started in 2007 when there was Cricket World Cup. And because of the fact that we were expecting most of the major games to be here in Guyana.
But was it done in a major, was it as big as it is expected to be at this point, at this time?
Well, I must say it's almost on the same magnitude.
Okay, got you.
Because there were a lot of persons, there was approximately like 300 and something persons who were interested at that time, and we're almost on the same page at this time.
Okay.
So the thing is with the bed and breakfast, at this point we would have already inspected some properties, persons would have already come on board, and we would have already inspected some properties and stuff like that. Well, Andrea is going to tell you that when we first started a bed and breakfast, it was a code of practice. It was not necessarily something written in stone that you have to follow all the requirements. It was a voluntary standard. But this time around, we were making it into a standard, a requirement, something that you have to do. So that's where Andrea and the GNBS, is
okay.
That's their role.
Before we talk to Andrea for a bit, you did say that it's already begun. Persons have been approached and so on. So that part of it is closed off?
No, it's not. It's not
yet.
closed, and it's open all around Guyana. It's not closed.
How are people getting involved?
Well, first of all, from tomorrow, basically, the website will be up with the registration forms. But we had ads in the papers telling you that you can come into the Ministry of Public Telecommunications, or you can come down to Guyana Tourism Authority, or you can either call us and we can email you the registration form. Once you completed that registration form, then we will call you back saying that this is the day we'll be visiting you to expect us. And then we will go and check based on the requirements that we think that a tourist needs in order to feel comfortable, whether it's in a home or a hotel. We will go and check and make certain that you meet those standards.
Have
those
you found, in terms of your inspecting, Kemie, have you found that, persons are really up to it, and it's not people just doing it to say, make a buck here or make a buck there?
Actually, we inspect some very good properties. I mean, self-contained rooms and stuff like that. It's just as if they're in a hotel. So far, what we have done, the places that we have would have inspected, most of them are persons who have an apartment by itself.
Okay.
So it's not necessarily
Where they live.
They might live in front, and then there's a house at the back and stuff like that. So there's kitchenette and everything there. So the tourists could either choose for them to provide a breakfast, or they get their own stuff and cook. And I'm telling you, some of these homes, I fell in love with so many of them that I'm thinking, when I'm on vacation or on a weekend,
Go right here.
Yeah, I'll go. And it's reasonable. Honestly, some of them are very reasonable. The place are very good for the price that they're on because we're not telling them how to set their price. They're setting their price. But when we do the inspection,
Okay.
if the price is too high for what they're offering, then I will make suggestions and say, it's that is too high or whatever the case may be.
Okay, all right, great. Andrea, let's talk to you a bit now. The steps in terms of ensuring that the properties that Kemie is talking about, in terms of ensuring that they are of high standards. Go ahead.
Well, first of all, as Kemie said, the standard came into play around Cricket World Cup, and it was a code of practice. But in preparations to the Jubilee celebrations, the Ministry of Public Telecommunication Tourism, along with GTA, they would have proposed to the Bureau Standard to have the code of practice to the bed and breakfast facility standard to be revised. Our revision process, well, of course, it's a process involved. So after the ministry would have made that proposal would have had to be approved by our council body. And once that our council body approved of that, the revision process started. We have a technical committee, tourism, which Kemie is a part of as well. We have representation from the Ministry of Public Telecommunication as well. TAG, there is a tourism body in Linden. I can't remember the name right now.
Linden Tourism Association.
Yes, I can't remember the name. But we have them on board, and am I forgetting anyone?
EPA.
Yes. Ensure that the environment is safe and everything else that goes along with it. Kemie, I'm going to want to talk to you about another aspect of it, which is the entertainment festival. But before we come off of the bed and breakfast, Andrea, at this time, could you say specifically what standards are usually sought after? What exactly would you be looking for when these properties are examined?
Well, since GTA would be inspecting the bed and breakfast facilities, they would be using the standard because, as Kemie explained, the standard was a code of practice before. Code of practice are just recommendations. But the requirements, that is the present name, the requirements for bed and breakfast facilities, these operators would need to be in harmony with what is outlined in the context of that standard. So, like for instance, the standard addresses two categories, category A, category B. Under each category, there are a list of requirements. Like for instance, should the room be AC'd? Should the room have fans? How are the beds? How often the linens are changed? What is going to be considered a bed? Is it going to be a couch or just fold-up bed? Or, the standard is very specific. It addresses all of that. It also makes provision, and that was due to the inputs from the EPA. How are their wastes going to be disposed of? How often are the rooms going to be maintained? Good lighting. It's very detailed, but at the same time, it is not stringent. So it is easy for operators to comply with the requirements.
With the requirements, yeah, it's not too far-reaching. You don't have to stretch.
Actually, the whole aim of the B&B this time is to have it make it sustainable. So we don't have it, as a one-off thing when we're only having an major event in Guyana. So we're trying to make it sustainable at this point. So hence the reason why the Ministry of Public Telecommunication would have petitioned for it to become now a standard and not just a voluntary code of practice, but a requirement.
A requirement.
Yeah.
Not to rain on your parade, but I could be pessimistic at times. And I know you probably don't have the numbers in terms of tourists who would come. And I'm not talking about when there's something like Jubilee or MASH. Generally, during a normal period, I know you probably don't have the numbers of the amount of tourists, the number of tourists coming in. But have you seen that it would be sustainable to have the bed and breakfast program going even when they're not these big activities?
Actually, yes, because the thing is, of the list that we had the last time that we were using in 2007 and then resuscitated in 2010 for the Carifesta, when Guyana was supposed to be hosting, when the other members of the team from Ministry of the Public Telecommunication called around using the list that we would have had in our database, we found that there were 32 persons still continuing the bed and breakfast from then on. So
Okay.
it will go on, a little more. And I think it's going to be sustainable.
Wonderful.
The thing is, if you're looking at the trend around the world, a lot of persons like the bed and breakfast atmosphere because they come, they get their breakfast, and they just go. They spend a day or two. They don't want to go sometimes to a hotel to spend 2 days or
Straight,
whatever
yeah, they
when
wanna
they
be
can do
out.
it. And then some people like a home away from home. If you left Guyana a long time and you need to catch up, then you need somebody to talk to tell you, well,
Yeah,
this
get the
this is
homey
what
feeling.
you missed, and this is where we're at, and that sort of thing. Old time story, nostalgia.
Well, I'm happy that's the direction it's going in because in my mind I was thinking this because some people tell you, look, I live overseas or wherever. I don't want to come back to the same atmosphere. Don't pretend. Just give me the natural environment that I probably grew up in and missed so much. So I'm happy that's the direction it's going in. We keep hearing talk about that there are no rooms, the hotels, there's no space left.
No, there's none. That is
None.
true.
There is none.
There's
So
none.
does this include in the bed and breakfast programs they've
Well,
been booked?
So
those-
far, there were persons who kept calling, even though while we just started talking about the initiative, while we just started talking about it, a lot of persons had already called in to find out, okay, so they kept calling on a daily basis to find where things, so as of now, we would have already given persons the contact numbers
For
for the
those-
persons who would have already been inspected
Okay.
and approved.
So right, it's not a case where you are finding people for them. You just
No.
doing the exchange.
We're just doing that, and then we're taking the information, we're taking pictures of the property and stuff like that, and we're uploading it onto the website. Now, for the persons who are overseas, they would now, we're trying to link it to all the different websites, Ministry of Public Telecommunication on the Guyana Tourism Authority, even the Bureau of Standard on, I think AWI 50 had agreed
Yeah.
for us to do it with them also. So that link would be provided on all these websites. So when you go and you click on it, you look at the property, you will see what the rooms look like, what the front, the interior and the exterior of the property looks like. And if you decide, well, this is where you want to go, you click on it and it goes directly, your reservation goes directly to the person's email. That's the point where we're through with that. It's now between you and the person who wish to stay at you. So then we would have put together a blueprint though for persons who are now doing this and stuff in order to make it sustainable, where we're showing you how you can do your registration, how you can put up your house rules,
Okay.
yes, how you can have a feedback form, ways in which you can market it.
So
on
right,
your
you're
little
just
Facebook.
leaving them on their own. You're helping.
We're helping. We're equipping them. It's like teaching a man to fish.
Yeah.
And then let him go fish.
So even
So
they'll
it's
be
that
fishing
certain-
even after
after we're
May.
finished teaching them.
All right, before we talk about Entertainment Festival, this is before we come off of bed and breakfast, just remind them for persons who, may have decent enough homes and they may want you to come and inspect it, of course, along with Andrea and the GNBS. Just remind them how they can not necessarily make contact with you directly, but how they can get involved, be a part of the program.
Well, if you have a home and you want to put it up for bed and breakfast, you need to call either the Ministry of Public Telecommunication on 225-2635, or you can call the Guyana Tourism Authority on 219-0094-96 and state your interest. If you can't come into us, you can give us an email address and we will send the form to you via soft copy. You can fill it out and return it to us, and we would print it off and use that. But as of maybe Tuesday, you'll be able to get it directly from the website.
Okay, all right, fabulous. Thank you very much for that. I'm certainly excited because some of these things are very new to us here. And you did talk about the fact that it was here during the World Cup, but this is like a refresher because people have forgotten about that,
Yeah.
unfortunately. So, and this it's in a sense building the hype and
Yes.
getting people prepared for our Jubilee celebrations. Let's talk about the entertainment festival now because I know you wear many hats. This is another.
Oh, you're talking about the Guyana Jubilee Festival
Right.
that the Ministry of Public Telecommunications
Exactly,
is
because
responsible
right,
for.
I know this is another aspect of our Jubilee celebrations. Let's talk about
Yes.
that.
Well, we're tasked with the responsibility of hosting the Jubilee Festival at the stadium, and that will be from the 19th to the 22nd. Basically, the 4 nights is going to be comprised of everything Guyanese. So you have from poetry, art exhibition, storytelling, all these different things. But most of all, on the first evening, we have the night of the spiritual upliftment, where the major religions in Guyana will be doing their piece. So they have a lot of time where they would do like for instance, the Muslim would do their qasida, their recitals of the Quran and passages and stuff like that. And the Hindus, they will do their thing. The Christians, they will have their gospel, so they have the little worship, and then they have the dances and stuff like that. So that's for the evening of the spiritual upliftment. There's the Everything Guyanese night, where you will have everything Guyanese as it speaks. So each region is expected to put together a program, a duration of 15 to 20 minutes or half an hour, and to present the talent that they have in the region. Along with, we will have the folk singers, folk dancers, and enactments of matiko and kwekwe and stuff like that. So you'll be fully entertained with and the comedy and all these different things. And then there's a Night of the Legends concert, where we have all the Guyanese, whether they're living abroad or they're still here, who would have significantly contributed to Guyanese music. So we'll have like the Aubrey Mans, the Sash Passad, the Hilton Hermerdin, and people like those.
So we have enough of them to have an
Yes.
entire show.
Yes,
No,
we
because
do.
we're talking
We
legends
do.
here.
You
Not
see, the thing is,
not that I have
a lot,
anything against
no,
the fresh
but
ones,
a lot of Guyanese don't realize that some of the songs that we listen to and we hear, and I found this when I was saying, talking to some of my colleagues, they know the song, but they didn't know it was sung by a Guyanese. So sometimes I take pleasure in saying, hey, that's Aubrey Cummings' song. Flower named June and that sort of thing. A lot of people didn't know that it was from a Guyanese. And Stealing Love on the Side is from Aubrey Mann and stuff.
Now I'm feeling bad because I like Stealing Love on the Side.
You see
and
what
I
I'm
didn't know
saying?
that either.
Exactly. So, and then you have Sammy Bash with his song, so I don't know if you know if My Love Is Not Retail.
Yes.
That is Sash
Yes, I
Fasad,
know.
and
Wow.
he's a Guyanese.
Learning experience
You
for me
see?
today, and I'm
So-
sure Andrea is learning too.
So, we have these guys, and then you have Keith Waits and all these people. You have Dave Martin and the Trade Winds. And,
Well,
and
it will
stuff
certainly
like
be
that.
refreshing to see all of them on one
Yeah.
stage, indeed, because it would be teaching our young people, especially I'm not talking about the young artists who are already established, but the ones who would want to see a future in music, so that they would know that, that they can indeed go far and not focus only on, because I get now these days when we say Guyanese music, Guyanese artists, it apparently we're thinking that we can only sing soca, and it's not just about that. So.
You see, that's because the funny thing is because the younger generation, even though some of them are in music, they haven't taken the time to look back at these guys, and they don't identify because of the fact that some of them don't even know that
true.
these songs that they're hearing belong to these people, and these people are Guyanese. They just performed and recorded in England or in America or in Canada, but they're actually Guyanese, So, if they're to take the time, and we're hoping that this concert here will make sure that
Yeah.
they know
Because
that.
no, and we can get the legends to come back and pump some of their own experience and wisdom and so on into our young
And then you have,
artists.
of course, you have the Young People Night, which is a Generation Next concert.
Yes, I wonder why they always put the young people for last, Kemie. I know, Kemie.
Well, I can tell you some of the rationale sometimes
Yes,
when
I'd
I
like to
said
hear
to
it.
put the young people for last. It's because of the fact that the older folks who would enjoy the Legends concert will want to go to work, might have to work the next day, get up, go to church the next day, and young people tend to have a little more time on their hands.
All right, Kemie. I'll accept that for now. Spoken like a true PR person, I'll accept that for now, ma'am. Ladies, it really was a pleasure chatting with both of you. Thank you so very much for coming. Again, this was enlightening and refreshing. And again, it's all about reminding people and putting people in the mood because so much is going on in our country now. There are lots of negatives. So it's just to remind people that, look, there's something positive. There are other things positive to look forward to. So I'd like to thank both of you for being on Facing the Nation today.
The pleasure is mine, Malika.
Okay.
And I got the name right this time.
Yes, you didn't say Andrea. I know you were
There's
probably
just-
sure. Go
There's
ahead,
just
Andrea.
one thing that I would like to remind the public. The standard, the requirements, they're out for public commenting, and the closing date is next Friday, April 8th. The standard is on our website, www.gnbsgy.org. You can go there, the standard is there, and we just want to urge persons, not only in this sector, but other interested persons, that they can submit their comments on the standard.
Just repeat the website for them again because.
www.gnbsgy.org.
All right. That should be easy to remember. All right, ladies, thank you very much. Viewers, of course, if you're now joining us, you've missed a great conversation. I was chatting with Kemie Williams. Kemie Williams is the administrative manager at the Guyana Tourism Authority. We were talking about the bed and breakfast program, and she also talked about the Guyana Festival. And she was accompanied by Andrea. And Andrea is from the Guyana Bureau of Standards. I don't know why all of a sudden I'm getting nervous. I think Kemie is intimidating me. But Andrea Mendonza from the Guyana Bureau of Standards. Once again, thank you very much, ladies. This is Facing the Nation. I'll take a quick break and come back on the other side of the break. I'll deal with some housekeeping matters, of course. And then after that, it will be time for me to wrap up today's program. Stay tuned. All right, welcome back, and of course, thanks for staying with Facing the Nation. Just a few matters before we go from today's program. Lots is going on in our country, but I do not want that to distract you from the fact that we're all celebrating in May. It's Guyana's 50th independence anniversary, and that should remind us about the need to stay patriotic and stay true to yourselves and so on, despite what we are going through, some of the stuff people are talking about. It's interesting, but before I even deal with some of those other things, let me just remind you, I've gotten word that today the councillors, the mayor and the deputy mayor should have been sworn in. That would have probably been a half hour ago. Of course, I don't have an update to give you because I am here talking with you. But hopefully, I hope to have the mayor and the deputy mayor, the new mayor and the new deputy mayor, once it is allowed, I hope to have them on next week's program, whoever they may be. You probably at home may have already heard something. So you can probably give me the information when I get off of the air. But I would have the mayor and the deputy, hopefully would have the mayor and the deputy mayor on next week's program, next week's Facing the Nation program. I also want to take this opportunity to say thank you very much to not only persons in Georgetown, but everywhere who supported APNU AFC during the local government elections campaign and on the day of itself. I know that voter in terms of numbers, the voter turnout was very limited. When you compare it to what happens in general and regional elections. After doing some reading and some research, Guyana is not the only country where that happens when it comes to local government elections. People apparently just laid back, okay, look, we have the central government in place already. This is the central government of our choice. They're already in place, so we can lay it back. But that should not be the attitude. It should be an ongoing thing. For the smaller groups, as I always said, it's no secret where my political allegiance and my political support lies, of course, because I am one of the, you can call it, junior members of the government. So obviously my support lies with APNU AFC. But at the same time, I want to congratulate the young people, especially the young people with those other small groups who took part in the local government elections. And you should be proud of yourselves. See this as a stepping stone. It's practice for us and practice for you, because I keep saying it, our leaders will not, it's impossible. They cannot be leaders in the next 2 decades or so. So see this as a stepping stone, see it as practice, and do not lose hope. For those of you who voted and you did not get the results that you wanted, again, this is a trial, 3 years. And I'm saying this to the persons who did well. You need to keep in mind that it's 3 years. You can be voted out of office in another 3 years. These are local government elections. They're very important. And the reason that local government elections were brought back is, in a sense, to bring back the democracy that we've lost for so long and to put power in the hands of these communities. So I trust that you would understand that people trusted you and they voted for you. So now you have to do what you said you were going to do for those communities. Keep that in mind. Do not forget that. There's another big issue that's going around. Unfortunately, some people are disappointed. The Minister of State is being bashed left, right, and center because of this whole issue of Brian Tiwari. I just want to remind you, for those of you who don't know, the President already spoke on the matter, that the appointment he himself, the President, His Excellency Brigadier David Granger, has rescinded that appointment. So any other official word is what the President will either continue to say again, or what the Minister of State will say. And I just want to remind you that our Minister of State, Joseph Harmon, he's very accessible. Almost every week we hear from him during post-cabinet press briefings. So it's not a case where he can't be reached or he doesn't answer questions publicly. So just keep in mind that none of our officials are unreachable or inaccessible. But that doesn't mean that, especially goes to members of the media, that doesn't mean that you must get them when you want to get them. They have a country to run and they're trying their best to do that. Those are just some of the matters I want to raise from now. Don't forget, we are in the season we're preparing for our independence celebrations. It's going to be 50 years. We should be remembered to be patriots. Try your best to preserve Guyana, preserve our history and everything around you as it relates to celebrating with Guyana and celebrating for Guyana. I am Malika Ramsey. Thank you very much for tuning in today. Thank you very much to all my guests, beginning with the Scouts Association of Guyana. Quick thing before I go, for those of you who want your child or children to get involved, if you yourself want to get involved, you can call them on 225-3225 there. They're open to questions, and they will answer those questions, and you can be a part of them. So thank you very much to Ms. Dominique Van Slytman. We had a little change, so I'm still trying to get familiar with some of the names. So thank you very much to Dominique Van Slytman. She is the Deputy Commissioner of the Scouts Association of Guyana. And of course, thanks to Andrew Ram Charitar. He is the Deputy Chief Commissioner of the Guyana Scouts Association. Of course, the two ladies I just had the conversation with about the bed and breakfast program and the Guyana Festival. This is all the time I have with you on Facing the Nation this week. Be good Guyanese citizens. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And of course, join me again next week. Goodbye.